The Sean Combs criminal trial erupted in week 1, exposing deep fractures in a music empire once praised worldwide. Inside a tightly secured New York federal courthouse, serious accusations and dramatic testimony began to dismantle the carefully curated image of one of hip-hop's most iconic figures. Allegations of manipulation, abuse of power, and disturbing behind-the-scenes behavior took center stage. This is your definitive recap of a week that shook the courtroom and sent shockwaves through the entire entertainment world. This isn't just a trial, it's a turning point for an industry built on influence. And what's coming next may be even more revealing. Tap subscribe and stay tuned as we uncover the most intense moments from the first week of testimony. Because federal courts don't allow cameras or recordings, we're committed to bringing you clear, detailed recaps that make you feel like you're right there in the courtroom. These daily updates will follow every major development as the trial unfolds behind closed doors. On day 1, it all started with chaos. Reporters, fans, and lawyers lined up around the block just to get inside the courtroom. Some compared it to a spectacle.
The line was all the way down the block, and it was just crazy packed with so many journalists, so many people who just wanted a chance to, again, be inside that courtroom today. But it was just a madhouse. Like a lot of us in the media were kind of comparing it to the Hunger Games. It was really that serious.
Lil Rod, the former producer suing Diddy, showed up among the crowd, drawing extra attention. Inside, Diddy sat quietly at the defense table. He wore a gray sweater and read the Bible before the trial began. His family filled the benches behind him, including his mother, Janice, and his adopted son, Quincy Brown. It was clear this would be no ordinary trial, but the atmosphere would soon shift dramatically. The prosecution opened by describing Diddy as the head of an organized criminal network spanning 2 decades. They cited alleged private events where manipulation and coercion played a central role. "This is not about private preferences," the prosecutor said. "This is about criminal behavior and the abuse of influence." In response, the defense claimed this was a case of adult relationships twisted into something they weren't. They insisted it was about jealousy, consent, and money. The courtroom listened closely, but it was the first witness who would bring the story into stark focus. Daniel Phillip, a male performer, testified that he was paid to engage in intimate acts with Cassie Ventura while Diddy watched. He said this happened more than once and that Diddy directed what occurred. Under cross-examination, the defense questioned whether Cassie appeared impaired. Phillip said she did not. But the emotional tone shifted when he described hearing violence in the next room and being unable to continue.
Cassie was one of the most beautiful women that he had ever seen. He had also said had Cassie given him a chance that he would absolutely date her. So it seems like he kind of had more on his end, more of a platonic feeling towards Cassie, especially kind of in that need to kind of protect her. So,
that moment set the stage for the testimony the public had waited for. When Cassie entered the courtroom, all eyes were on her, not just because of the gravity of her testimony, but because she arrived visibly 8.5 months pregnant. The emotional weight of her appearance, standing tall and composed in front of the jury, set a striking tone. Her presence alone added a layer of urgency and vulnerability to what was already a highly anticipated moment in the trial. Cassie Ventura took the witness stand for what would become 4 days of testimony. On day 1, she introduced the emotional and psychological dynamics of her 11-year relationship with Diddy. Her statements pointed to a pattern of control, isolation, and manipulation that escalated over time. She remained poised and steady, calmly walking the jury through the beginning of their relationship and how it gradually changed. The courtroom was silent, listening to every word, but her most disturbing claims were still to come. Cassie took the jury deep into the trauma she said she experienced, moments of emotional pressure and an incident of physical violence that left her unable to move. The jury was shown photographs of her injuries, and the courtroom reacted in near total silence. She described situations that made her feel emotionally broken and powerless. And just as the tension reached its peak, she referenced a security video from a hotel hallway, an image the public would soon see for themselves. The impact of that footage would be undeniable.
Pretty much reaffirmed that Diddy beat Cassie essentially and even called her the B word. And so then they were talking under the recross. He was asked again about, text messages that he said he didn't receive responses to. And then some of the exhibits were showing that,
Jurors were shown footage of a hotel hallway incident where Diddy was seen dragging and striking Cassie. The courtroom fell into a stunned silence as the frames rolled. This was the same footage Cassie had referenced on day 2. The defense acknowledged the footage, calling it wrong, but maintained it wasn't relevant to the current charges. Still, the video underscored the trial's central theme: power, control, and consequence. And the defense would soon pivot to a new strategy. On day 4 of Cassie's testimony, she was placed under a cross-examination. The defense presented affectionate messages, emails, and flirty exchanges with Diddy in an attempt to challenge her credibility.
Then they were talking under the recross. He was asked again about, text messages that he said he didn't receive responses to. And then some of the exhibits were showing that, Cassie had responded very casually to some of those messages. So some of those were pretty much the big takeaways.
They argued that these messages demonstrated a consensual relationship. Cassie didn't deny writing them, but explained that such exchanges didn't reflect the true dynamic behind the scenes. Despite the pressure, she remained calm and resolute. And while the defense tried to recast the narrative, Cassie's testimony over 4 days had already shaped the emotional backbone of the case. Cassie's family, including her husband, mother, and brother, watched every moment from the front row. Her husband, Alex Fine, left during sensitive testimony and didn't return that day. Across the aisle, Diddy's family remained present, creating visible tension in the room. The jurors followed it all closely. And as the first week ended, one thing was clear: this trial was only just beginning. While emotions ran high inside the courtroom, legal experts watching the case pointed to something far more critical: the complexity of the legal charges. According to veteran attorneys, Cassie's composed and emotionally charged testimony, combined with visual evidence, could carry enormous weight with the jury. Some legal observers noted that it's not enough for jurors to feel sympathy. The prosecution must prove that Combs's actions meet very specific legal standards, involving long-term influence and potential abuse of power. That means showing a pattern of behavior backed by evidence, beyond just emotional accounts. Others pointed out how the introduction of surveillance footage could help tie together key allegations with the broader claim of coordinated misconduct. As one expert put it, the public may be focused on the drama, but the courtroom is focused on the law. This added layer of legal complexity means the jury isn't just weighing right and wrong, they're interpreting years of behavior through the lens of structured legal definitions. What comes next? The testimony so far has only scratched the surface. More witnesses are expected, more evidence, and the legal battle ahead could define the rest of Diddy's legacy. Now it's in the jury's hands to decide what's truth and what's distortion. If you want to go even deeper into the story, don't miss our exclusive video. Diddy's former bodyguard exposes everything. Big homie CC. He says he's risking his life to expose a system that has silenced victims, buried evidence, and protected the untouchable. The information you're about to hear might not stay public for long. Subscribe for more updates as we continue covering the most critical moments from this high-profile trial.